Eddie C., it is so good to see you. You're on Twitch and on Zoom with us right now. How's it going?
Good, Maggie. Good. Good to see you and Moose. You're looking good.
Thank you, Eddie.
We're barely
I'm
hanging
just,
on.
I'm just driving back and forth to Citi Field waiting for a ball game to take place, you know?
Yeah, those don't seem to be happening very often for the Mets. Some things out of their control, some things in their control, but you got a doubleheader today. So you know what, Ed? Honestly, when I saw they were going to have the doubleheader and Marcus Stroman's going to give it a go today, which is great. Taijuan Walker is going to pitch today too, and they're going to face a pair of righties for the Phillies. The Mets will. I thought maybe they caught a break here. You know, I know the bullpen should be rested, totally rested, but if you're going to play 2 7-inning doubleheaders, I kind of like that with Walker and Stroman on the mound. And maybe you don't really need a lot from the bullpen because, quite frankly, they're a little bit shaky even in this early season.
Yeah, no, it is. There's no quite list. The starters outside of Peterson and his start against the Phillies have been great. And you're right. I mean, Walker went 6. He had, 4 facing the minimum, took a no-hitter into the 5th. Stroman went 6 as well. So you hope for that today and stay away from the bullpen. Keep in mind, too, they're going to Colorado after this for a 3-game series, and that's where bullpens go to die. And you hope that that's not going to happen, this weekend. But just get a couple of games in, maybe stay away from the bullpen a little bit. I think that'd help, yeah, for sure.
You know, Eddie, we've had a lot of – what have you thought about Rojas here? First full season, 162 games after what you saw last year. Because Maggie and I, we've taken a lot of calls from Rojas, whether the explanations after games, some of the in-game decisions. What about Rojas here early on impressions?
He's very reticent to say anything, outside of the norm. Let's put it that way. And he wants to make sure that it's kind of check all the boxes before you go public with it or talk to us about it. I get that. I think that Louis. One of the problems, Louis, listen, he's a good person. He's new to this. I think we all know that, even with the shortened season last year and the short start. He still hasn't really gotten his rhythm and gotten in the flow of things. And I think what he needs more than anything, just like the team needs, is to get going and play some games and get into the rhythm. I think he'll probably be a little bit more forthcoming in that regard. Some of the decisions made, obviously, you can take the task so far. There's no question about that. But I think Louis is a good manager overall. I think he has a good, he has a good feel for this club, and I think the club likes him as well. So I just like to see him get in the rhythm, get in the flow.
In today's day with baseball managers and everything kind of being collaborative in their decisions, Eddie, how is that handled here with the Mets in terms of what is in Rojas's lap of handling things, what is out of Rojas's decision-making where, there are others that are playing a role in that decision-making?
Well, I think, listen, he makes out the lineup every day, but I think he has help with that lineup as well. I think he has help on virtually everything. I think the analytics people obviously have a big play in what this club is going to do on a day-to-day basis. Who's going to come into certain situations in the game. I think they have a lot of say in what's going on. I don't think there's somebody in his ear during the game. I think it's Louis' game, but I think they prep him well beforehand, and I think he's got a lot on his plate that he's got to sort through before he goes out there. But there's a lot of help being administered, let's put it that way.
Ed, do you think beyond Stroman, there were other Mets players who were upset that the game started at all on Sunday?
Yeah, I do. It's tough. I know I was upset, that's for sure. Listen, it's tough when you're not in there and you can't talk to them, after a game or before a game. That's the world that we live in now. Everything is by Zoom, and the guys are going to couch their answers. There's no question about that. So it's tough to get a feel for that, Maggie. But listen, that was a common sense day. I mean, let's be honest. Okay, that was a common sense day. That game should have been called off at 10 o'clock in the morning. They can talk about windows all they want. I'm sure they had good intentions, but the fact of the matter was that they just should have banged it and gotten on with things. They certainly did that pretty quick last night. Normally, you don't see the Mets cancel something till close to game time, and even after game time. And last night it was gone by 5:03 or something like that. So I guess they learned a lesson from the day before.
Eddie, how about Conforto? The lineup Sunday had him dropped in the lineup. Rojas talked about it. Well, how do you think he struggled, and that's putting it kind to begin this season? Do you expect that to continue lineups for this doubleheader today when they come out? When we see him,
Moose, we just got the lineup.
Oh, there you go.
Just got the lineup for the Phillies for game 1 of the doubleheader. Seeing this on Twitter now from Tim Healy. So you got Nimmo leading off, Lindor, Dom Smith will be hitting third, Pete Alonso, McNeil, then Conforto, so he's dropped to the 6th spot. Six, McCann, and then Guillorme, and then Taijuan Walker.
Well, there you have. What about Michael? You think he's pressing with the contract and all here, Eddie?
No, I don't think that. I don't think he has his swing yet. First of all, there are two guys that I really don't worry about in this lineup, and they're Jeff McNeil and Michael Conforto. But that being said, McNeil has hit the ball, I think, very hard. He's had some bad luck. Got a big hit, obviously, with a home run, which tied up the game that they eventually won. But I really don't worry about Mac. With Conforto, when you look at the numbers, you're a little concerned. He has too good a swing, Moose, to for me to worry about him. I think he's going to snap out of it. How long it takes, that's another question. You look at some of the numbers, his swing and miss rate in the zone, it's usually, somewhere around 10, 15% or so. It's at 45% right now. So he's missing a lot of pitches that he normally hits. Contact rate, usually is about 85%. He's down to like 60%. So there are a lot of numbers that tell you what's going on right now is not good. The other part of it is too, I think this gets into the mental part of it. Probably he's had 21 at-bats, 3 hits and 21 at-bats. Probably half those at-bats have been with runners in scoring position or men on base, and he hasn't come through. So, that's obviously going to take a toll on you and start you thinking. So I think that's part of it as well. And listen, people remember those at-bats much more than if you swing and miss and strike out with nobody on base. So Conforto's had the chances to do it. He hasn't done it. I think that plays a lot into it right now. But, hopefully he starts to come out of this soon. I think, Mac might be a little bit closer, but Conforto will eventually. He's too good a hitter to be down for that long.
Ed, Ed Coleman is our guest. Are you surprised that they did drop him, considering there is like a psychological angle to it? Or are you surprised that Rojas dropped him this quickly and they played 5 games?
Yeah, listen, I'm sure they had a long conversation about it, Maggie. I'm not shocked, honestly, because it was talked about before. We asked Louis, I think the day before he actually did it, whether he would consider dropping him down. He said, we have to consider everything. So I'm sure they talked about it. And Michael's the kind of guy that is not going to be worried about something like that. He knows when he's on, he's going to be in a prime hitting position and probably right behind Lindor as usual. But, right now he needs to find himself. And so I don't think it's a problem. I don't think it bothers him either.
Eddie, Maggie mentioned the bullpen, and the key contributor to that bullpen is Diaz. Last outing not good, was okay. First 2 to begin the season. What about Edwin Diaz and the key that he is to the back end of that bullpen closing games out till Lugo returns?
Yeah, I think you saw the last game they played, the kind of the blueprint for this team with. When they went 7, 8, 9 with Castro, May, and Diaz. That's what they want to do most of the time, and I think you'll see that most of the time as well. Diaz is going to be the guy. He's going to be the anchor. The last time out was not very good, as you mentioned. He was lights out this spring. I thought he was very good last year. I think in general, he's got his confidence back, and I think that's key. I'd still like to see him develop a changeup. He's a 2-pitch pitcher. 2 great pitches. Keep in mind that fastball and the slider, those are great pitches, and that's what he's going to live and die with. And I understand where, pitchers and guys are hesitant, to go to a pitch that's not their best pitch. But I'd still like to see him mix that in just to give the hitters another look, just something to consider. But I have a feeling he's probably not going to do that. So it's going to be up to those 2 pitches, whether he can get them out. And, listen, I have confidence in him. I think he can get it done. You want to say the last time was an aberration? You certainly hope so, because let's put it this way. With the fans, he doesn't have a lot of, he just doesn't have a lot
There's
of.
no grace period, Eddie. There's no grace period for
everybody.
everybody.
No, you're right. Absolutely. People are going to jump on him. Any bad outing, even if it's in a throwaway game. It's like the last one was. It's it's going to be that kind of. It's going to be that kind of situation for him as long as he's a Met.
Ed, any update on J.D. Davis and when we might be seeing him?
Probably the weekend. I think he can come back Saturday, Maggie. I was surprised by that, honestly, because they had told us up until that point, and JD had told us as well, that he thought it would be just a couple of days, but probably about an hour after we found out that he was, kind of on the edge or on the cusp, then he was put on the injured list. So that did surprise me. But I think they were, using caution there. I think he can come back Saturday, and he's probably good to do that. I had heard that the weather in Colorado, like Friday, is supposed to be like 30 degrees and snow flurries. So I don't know if you want to come back for that. But it's a good place to go hit anyway. That's for sure. And he can come back, and I would assume he probably is going to come back sometime over the weekend.
Eddie, how about what Jed Lowry's doing with the Athletics? I want to put salt in the wound, and he's laying claims the Mets wouldn't allow him to have knee surgery. I mean, Jed Lowry is hitting over 300 for the A's.
Yeah, I can. My lasting memory of Jed Lowry is this: at spring training early on 2 years ago. Okay, when we asked him after he had come up lame early on in spring training, and we kind of we were led to believe that this wasn't going to take a long time. And I said, well, you should be ready for opening day, shouldn't you? And he goes, I don't know about that. And so that was my lasting impression. And it got worse after that for the 2 years. Yeah, I mean, it is kind of amazing. But listen, he's in a new place. I guess a better place for him. So 2 years, $20 million down the drain here. That's for sure.
Well, when you were about to say the Athletics, I thought you were going to say the Athletic, because that's where Jed Lowry gave the story that he wanted to get knee surgery and that the Mets were threatening him with a grievance. Wasn't Brody his agent? How did that relationship get so sour?
I don't know. That's why he was here, as a matter of fact. I mean, if you think back to that, let's be honest. And he's a very nice guy, okay, and I'm happy that he's doing well out there. But there was no need for Jed Lowry to be signed here. There just wasn't. That's the last thing that the Mets needed at that point in time. And as it turned out, they got nothing out of it. Like I said, 2 years, $20 million down the drain. But they didn't need Jed Lowry. That was a superfluous signing, to say the least.
Eddie, last one for me would be, we've talked about the bullpen. This team, they haven't played a lot here. The start and stop nature to this season, how do you think it's impacted this group to be able to find a rhythm early on in the season?
Yeah, I think it's affected all of them, honestly, Moose. It's tough, when you're ready to start on Thursday in Washington, and then you have the series go by the boards, and then you have the back-to-back rainouts here. It's tough. I mean, they've played 5 games. Everybody else has played, pretty much double that at this point. So they have catching up to do, and it's going to hurt them later on with doubleheaders. So I think everything. Yeah, I mean, Gesellman we haven't even seen him yet, and maybe that's good because
that's
they're
all right.
Yeah, that's. I got you. Maggie. They may work out well because Friday and Saturday they're going to need pitchers. Let's put it that way. They have Walker and Stroman today. You're going to have Peterson tomorrow. You have Jake Thursday. But beyond that, then you're going to the guys today can't come back till Sunday. So you're going to need pitchers. Lucchesi will be in there. Maybe you see Gesellman in some form. I don't know if unless they need him today. But they got to get a rhythm going. I still say those are the 3 main guys: Castro, May, and Diaz. You're going to see out of the bullpen, and Betances going down doesn't help, and I'm not sure how much he can contribute this year either. We'll see.
Ed, thanks so much for the time. Enjoy the doubleheader today. We'll talk to you again soon, and be well. Okay.
Good to see you guys. All right, talk to you soon.